Yeah, I had a hard time trying to figure out what to say my interaction with PI was at first, because I'm like, I'm not in PI. I'm in regional delegate, I'm in H&I, but I don't do PI. And then I started thinking about it. I'm like, well, I kind of do. And then I met Wilvina and everything had been PI since then. So yeah, she has a way of roping you into it all. But I'm going to put this up. H&I, I'm sure somebody has heard of it to some extent or another during their encounters with NA. And H&I and PI basically work hand in hand. PI actually starts the introductions for us to bring for H&I to go into the facilities. And we've been working with the Department of Corrections to bring H&I into them. What is H&I? It is a special introductory meeting held within a facility which a regular NA meeting cannot or should not be held. H&I meetings can be held in jails, prisons, treatment centers, rehabilitation programs, recovery houses, detoxification units, and mental hospitals. A variety of formats may be used depending upon local norms and types of facilities. Why are they needed? They carry the message of recovery to addicts who do not have the full access to regular Narcotics Anonymous meetings, such as the places I just listed. H&I meetings and presentations for those in long-term facilities are intended to introduce those attending to some of the basics. They are not NA meetings, they are presentations. So don't confuse the two. There's very big difference between an NA meeting and an H&I presentation. H&I subcommittees, they have the panel system. For H&I subcommittees who make up a typical area, they have requirements to be on a subcommittee. They have the positions that are available at a subcommittee, like a chair, a vice chair, a panel member chair, a panel chair, and then they have the panel members. They'll have a literature chair, which will keep track of the literature that goes to each of the facilities. If literature is needed, they order it from the literature chair for that area. So they keep track of what's going on. Then each of these subcommittees, at least in the New Jersey or Northern New Jersey region, each of the subcommittees report to a regional H&I committee. What goes on in a H&I presentation? The member presides over the meeting using a specific format. Support from the panel members. The members read from the literature. Same thing that we read at the meetings to get them introduced to what happens at a meeting. Who's an addict? What's the NA program? Why are we here? How it works. And then a presentation, as one is they share their experience, strength, and hope. You have a speaker come in and you open the floor for Q&A for the members that are there to get them familiar with how a meeting generally runs. We ensure that we deliver a clear message of the narcotics, a clear message of recovery for Narcotics Anonymous. We emphasize that NA recovery is available to all addicts, regardless of the drugs used. We don't discriminate against any person, any type of drug used, anywhere that they come from. We don't care what you have, where you came from, or what you used. We involve the potential members that in the meeting, especially in the long-term facilities. Panel members share their experience, strength, and hope. We clarify the rules to whomever we bring to an H&I presentation. Not only for the H&I presentation, the H&I committee itself, but for the facility we're going into. We don't want to bring a bad taste for the facility. We want to respect what their rules are as well. Granted, we don't just associate with the facility, and we make sure we give that distinction that we're not there representing the facility. but we don't want to break their rules. We attempt to make sure that we have all the agreements set into place before we start the presentations. We have our do's and don'ts, certain types of dress code. What you can bring, what you can't bring. We can't bring messages in and out. We start on time, we end on time. We make the helpline numbers available. We don't hand out phone numbers. We let them know that there are meetings available. We may say where our home group is from.
Hello?
So this way, when they come,
Yeah.
Do you have a regional flyer, poster
hello?
You
that
mean
you could send to me or put up for me later on?
you mean for
Well,
this
Lena, your
event?
mic is on.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could just send it to you in the chat.
Okay, good. Your mic is open. Thank you.
Okay. we make sure that we're dressed appropriately when we go in. We never attend a presentation meeting alone. We always go with the chairperson, panel member, and the speaker. Never do we attend a presentation by ourselves. We don't debate any of the issues. For example, if somebody from the floor says that they have an issue with somebody there, or that I have a problem with the way that they're being treated, that's not what we're there for. We're there to talk about recovery. We're there to talk about Narcotics Anonymous, not about what issues that they're dealing with within the facility, or with what issues they're dealing with their love life, or what issues they're dealing with their family. If we're there to introduce Narcotics Anonymous to them. We don't wear flashy jewelry or carry excessive cash with us. Usually we leave all that in. If we come with it, it's locked up in our vehicles before we enter the facility. And as I said, we don't take messages in or out. As I said, there is a difference between a regular meeting and an H&I presentation. The primary purpose in a regular meeting is share in NA recovery. H&I presentation, we share in NA recovery. The structure of an NA meeting is the 12 traditions of NA. The structure for an H&I meeting presentation is the committee guidelines, 12 traditions and 12 concepts. The format of a regular NA meeting is chosen by the group. The format of the H&I meeting presentation is by the panel presentation. So the panel committee will choose what the format is. Leadership for an NA meeting is a group conscience or the trusted servants. H&I meeting presentation is by the H&I committee. Funding for a regular NA meeting is done by the 7 tradition donations. An H&I meeting presentation is funded by the area in the regional committee. The oversight of an NA meeting is by the trusted servants in the meeting location. The oversight by the H&I presentation is by the institution and the facility the H&I and the facility regulations. Next thing I had up here is Jpay. That was the other thing that we were discussing with the Department of Corrections. What's Jpay, you ask? Jpay is a private company that partners with the state, county, and federal correction facilities across the country. It provides safe, reliable, and convenient services for family, friends, and inmates, and payment solutions for offenders, parolees, and probationers. Jpay prides itself on providing us some customer service and delivering relevant products and services to a broad range of facilities. This is something that a lot of the Department of Corrections already have accounts with. So they're familiar with what their guidelines are, what their regulations are, and they've already got them set into place. What type of services does Jpay offer? Well, they can send an email, they can send videograms, they could do scheduling of a video connect. So you could do live video connection with an inmate or the person that's in the facility. You could do ebooks. Ebooks, you say? Load up NA literature. There's things that have been going on. I believe Chicago is one of the first ones I know working on it, and New Jersey's in the process of heading in that direction, where a letter can be signed over and a plethora of Narcotics Anonymous literature can be uploaded onto this tablet that can be accessed by the inmate or the person that has the tablet within the facility so that they can access that literature at any point in time. It also has educational tools and media services, so they can actually have speaker tapes loaded up on them. Jpay tablets, they have universal features and benefits. They can place a phone call, send and receive emails, e-cards, videograms, advance their education with course material, podcasts, hence where the speaker tapes can come in, and ebooks and a literature. Access and purchase music, play games, rent movies, hence the speaker tapes, vital for us to be able to access that information. They can read daily news, which means they can get the Just for Today on there. The features and services available to your incarcerated loved one is delivered through one of the 3 tablet models. They have the JP 6S tablet, the JP 5S tablet, and the JPS Mini, 5S Mini. That's New Jersey contact information, our website, public information email, and of course, Northern New Jersey email. And of course, our helpline number. And then I also have, just to give you an idea, this is what we've been working with in the state of New Jersey. This is a compiled list of what I received from them in regards to tablets that they currently have in the facilities here in New Jersey. So this is some of the information we've been working with them to get uploaded into their facilities. And I think that's about it, if there's any questions.
Debbie,
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon, Wilvina. This is awesome. Thank you for putting this together. I'm Debbie W., Brooklyn, New York area Public Information Vice Chair. And I wanted to make a comment. The young lady that was just from Jersey, when she was talking about H&I, and I got clean in a therapeutic community. And when H&I came in, I used to break the traditions unknowingly, of course, but I would ask the panel member to get a message to my sister who was making meetings. And or I would say, oh, I saw you at the group anniversary or at this particular meeting. I would be sharing those things out loud in the facility. I had no idea I was breaking the traditions, and they would just smile at me, tell me to keep coming and make a meeting when I got out. But I do have a question, and I guess it could be for anyone on this platform. Since the pandemic, has any of the committees received requests to do a presentation virtually? And if so, was it a joint or singly, a single presentation? And also if so, were they able to fulfill that commitment?
Well, I can let you know here in New Jersey, we are currently doing H&I virtually in several facilities. We have also received a total of 126 new requests on the result of a virtual symposium that New Jersey region attended, that our areas are currently reaching out to, of a combined effort for PI and H&I requests.
Wow, great. Thank you.
Petra, welcome, Petra. So glad you're here.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, Lorena. I'm Petra. I'm a recovering addict from Sweden. I have a question about the Jpay tablets. We would like to do something similar in Sweden. And I was wondering, are your collaboration with the company who provides the Jpay services, the tablet service, or is it with the correctional facility? Or is it with both? Is it like, how did you get the cooperation? How did you have like did you talk to the correctional facilities to get it like approve that you could have the NA literature
Well,
there?
I went on to the New Jersey Department of Corrections and realized what they were in, what they had the agreement with was Jpay. Some other locations use a platform called GTL. So there are different type of ventures that are used throughout. So all you have to do is go to your local Department of Corrections and find out what platform they utilize. If they don't have one, you can actually give them an offer of utilizing one of those, because these things are worldwide. They can access them, and they're familiar with working with departments of corrections.
Yeah. And how do they pay for this, the correction facility? Is it cost for them, or do we like provide it for free? Or
the Department of Correction pays a certain fee that they are allotted within their budget for having the services, and then the inmate would purchase the tablet. Okay,
thank you.
Yeah, before I take the other questions, I want to just avail us of some other experience. We have Nancy G from Arizona is in the meeting, and they actually also have another work group of PI and H&I that's working on Jpay. I know I'm putting her on the spot, but Nancy, if you wanna just weigh in while we're on this topic before I take the other questions.
We worked with Tom from New Mexico and someone in Ohio, and I'm not sure who, and got their templates because they've been successful in getting certain literature uploaded.
Yeah, that would be Paul M.
Pardon?
Paul, that's Paul M.
No, he's in Ohio, isn't he?
Yeah, he was the first contractual person. He was on the committee.
Okay, well, why don't you explain it? You want to go ahead and explain it?
No, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Nancy.
Okay, yeah, it's Paul, and Tom also logged in to help us a little bit, and someone in Florida, but we took their templates and kind of adapted them for Arizona, or I think we sent them over the way they were, and the state will go back and adapt them to their own legal terms. And I'd say we're a couple months out from getting it achieved, but the easiest way for us was to set up a working group, and we used our regional PR committee to set the working group with members of H&I who were interested, and they kind of took the lead, and PR just helped a little bit.
Thank you so much. All right, I'm gonna take these two questions. We are running over into the other segment, but we have Kelly and Robert. Go ahead, Kelly.
Kelly Attic. I have to say that I'm struggling being in the meeting with Laura and not becoming an instant asshole. So pardon me for breathe. Question I have is specific, actually. Is it considered, I don't want to say used wrong, but the H&I rules of, don't go, an H&I member does not go into the facility alone. There's always two. So when we are virtualizing subcommittees and a person goes in, but when they connect, there is another member that's a part of that panel. Are we dope meaning the 2-person rule with that?
It still has to be 2 members before you connect to the facility. We still do the same thing virtually here in New Jersey prior to connecting into the H&I presentation.
No, we're going to have one, let's say we have one person at a treatment center here. And they can go in by themselves, but they're going to connect, and then in the panel in the facility will be the other H&I member.
What we have here in New Jersey, I don't know about in your area, but in our area, you do not go into a facility as a single person, ever.
Okay, so the 2-person rule applies to physical reality.
Physical or virtual.
Right, but not both.
Never.
You can't combine both.
No, if you're in a virtual setting, it's 2 people. If you're in a physical setting, it's 2 people. It's not like one person's virtual, one person's physical. You have to have 2 on both settings.
Okay.
So if you're going in physically, you cannot go in by yourself.
Okay, while you ponder that, Kelly, I'm going to quickly go to Robert, and then I'm going to introduce our next moderator.
Hi, my name is Rob, and I'm an addict. Thank you for sharing that information and the consolidation between H&I and PI, but I'm just curious, right? Like, first of all, I'm not sure what area you're from in New Jersey. I remember living in New Jersey. I was trying to become a part of an area that was down in Clark, New Jersey, which was part of Central New Jersey. Is that where you're from?
No, I'm northern New Jersey, Wayne.
Okay. My second question, right? Because I understood what the gentleman was saying, right? And it's a priority for us not to go in alone. You know, I just truly believe that when you do that, you're breaking the second, not breaking, but you're disregarding the second tradition. Now, my question to you is like, doing a presentation on a virtual meeting, right? Isn't there a thin line between you doing the presentation and the actual other member doing the H&I presentation? Is there a thin line between that? Or you understand what I'm saying? Like, you can't do both. This is what I'm saying.
You have to have 2 members,
So
regardless.
I'm saying, is one member a PI rep and the other member H&I rep? That's what I'm asking.
No, they're both from H&I. Because in order to be on an H&I panel, you have to go through the requirements to be on the H&I panel. You have to attend 2 subcommittee meetings. You have to actually go through the orientation. There's a process you go through. It's not like you could just say, I want to go on H&I.
Yeah, I understand that. But what I'm talking about when you're doing it virtually, because PI has their regulations also.
Right.
So what I'm talking about in the course of doing that virtually, right, is there a thin line between the separation? Because you just told me you have to be on H&I. So how could you be on H&I and doing a PI presentation? You understand what I'm saying?
Okay, I understand what you're saying, Robert. I think here's the kind of confusion and dilemma here. So especially during the pandemic, and we've experienced this in Manhattan area, many of the H&I facilities were completely closed. And so because H&I relies on their single person that they were in contact with who may or may not be there, the H&I facilities were staying closed, and public information then had to take a separate, more aggressive stance to communicate by phone or email singularly. And
Yes.
then once we found out that they were accepting virtual meetings, then we passed that over to H&I. But in the case that Diana's talking about right now with the collaboration, and actually I only am aware of 2 other committees where this is happening, Arizona and Northern New Jersey and New Jersey, where they've made a completely separate work group that has both H&I and PR people or PI people on the work group for the purpose of collaborating with the Department of Corrections as a unit to talk specifically about the virtual options and the Jpay. I don't know anywhere else in the United States where this is happening, and it had to be comprised of both of these service units because once public information connects to the Department of Corrections, we have to hand that whole thing off to H&I, and then they take it from there. So we can't operate independently. So one of the reasons I thought it was so important for Diana to be on here is because H&I and PI and PR have been acting like as separate satellites in the universe until the pandemic. So I'm hoping that people will be more motivated to create these joint work groups. Like we don't have it anywhere in New York, like nowhere. So, you know, after this is over, you know, you guys can get in touch with Diana. That work group is actually more challenging because it's 2 regions. So you've got the chairs from 2 regional H&I and PI people on that work group, and they've been working since the end of the summer. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, good point, Wilvina. It is absolutely crucial for H&I and PI to work together in something in this respect because of the fact of the handoff. It's easier to do the handoff that way if we're with each other right from the beginning.